Okay, then I hope that's well for everybody. We'll make a start on this one, 11:45. We'll keep the times tight. I hope you've had a great session so far at the various events. I'd like to bring you up to speed with some work we're doing around a school engagement program here at the BPIF. Introduce myself. My name is Darren Shepherd. I'm Regional Director for the Northern Regions here at the BPIF. And this is a program that I have become involved with over the recent years, so I'll give you some background around there. So as I explained, we've been creating this school engagement program really around addressing the skills shortages that we're probably all aware of. I've been in print for 30 years and it's been an ongoing challenge that we need to address. And the aim that we're trying to do with this program is to create an easy to use, easy to access, virtually plug and play program by which members can interact with schools, the students and the stakeholders, and the mums and dads, etc. around there. And whilst there's a lot of ambition, a lot of desire to get involved, actually where to start, how to go about it is the key. And that's what this program will deliver around there. So I'll take you through a bit of the background, the aims and the objectives, the progress achieved to date. I've got Dave Stones with me today from B&B Press. He's going to bring you up to speed with his experience of delivering within the programme. So a little bit of information. I don't think too many of you will be surprised on this. Is the figures produced a couple of years ago, showing that for the sector, for the industry, we're looking at around 8,000 companies, 112,000 employees. Recent surveys suggest that the average age in the industry is in the mid-40s. So we are as a growing and ageing sector, and it's something that we need to address and bring through the youngsters with the right skills to take the industry forward in the coming years as we become more and more digitised. Some articles that I've pulled from recent publications. These are mostly Print Week, but as you'll see within here, all the channels are highlighting the need for apprentices, of course, delivered through the BPIF training programs. But there's a chronic skills shortage, and the calls from the channels, of course, are that employers must lead the way out of this crisis and find ways to bring new blood into the scheme, into the sector. Sorry, but how we go about that and where we start and how we do that in the right manner is what we're looking to cover within here. Whilst the press coverage here is from the UK, this really is a global problem. We're working with our colleagues at Intergraph. They have exactly the same challenges across Europe. They are working on a program that they call Print Your Future, which is being developed, and the BPIF are having quite a bit of involvement there to support and share resources and ideas. And also speaking to colleagues over in the States, the US have the same challenge. And their initiative is called Printed Everywhere. So that we're all coming at it the same way. How do we reach the students of today, the employees of tomorrow, and how do we make them aware of this fantastic industry in which we work? Similarly, schools have a similar challenge, but they come out from the other direction, of course. We're coming business down. Schools have the need to actually engage with their students and engage with businesses, and they have this framework, the Gatsby benchmarks. It's a framework by which a school can fulfil its duties to provide, amongst other things, independent career guidance. So the 8 Gatsby benchmarks, it's something you can Google and download and have a look at this, but the 3 of those need specific engagement with employers and businesses to deliver on this. So schools are really, really crying out for good, strong, robust programs from industry to fulfill points 2, 5 and 6 on this, again, benchmarks. 2 being learning from the career and the labour market, so understanding the needs of what the market is looking for from students. Encounters with employers and employees. More and more so, students tend to follow the lead from mum, dad and uncle and auntie and brother and sister. And if they don't have awareness of other sectors and other career opportunities, they tend to be somewhat blinded to those opportunities. And their experience of workplaces. So, site visits, experience of what careers are available within the industry. So 2, 5 and 6 are areas that the print sector can provide that information, then it gives us a real opportunity to raise a profile of the industry. We become the school's best friend and careers advisors. We really do appreciate the support on these matters. So it was interesting speaking to members and colleagues across the industry. There is a lot of activity already running around the industry and a lot of engagement carried out, but it's done without sort of a unified approach. So we've got Gloss of Cartons delivering a CD workshop. Sean does careers talks from Blue Tree. Sarah at Simpson Print Up in Newcastle delivers a lot of ambition around creative and digital technology. And Dave Hooray from Shortley has supported me on the Building My Skills programme. And we attend various events. There's a Leeds Apprentice Festival running today here in Yorkshire, and we've supported the recruitment fair in previous years. It's interesting to compare where we are with the print industry against other sectors. And researchers found that the construction sector is very, very well advanced in its approach. This is just a few screenshots from a programme delivered by the ESH Group, who are based in Darlington. They have a programme called Building My Skills, and they have both a primary school and a secondary school angle to the way that they deliver it. This, of course, primary school. But you can see on here how they've tailored some of the needs of the industry to the needs of the primary schools. So we're looking at measuring health and safety. There's some there's angles and various bits and pieces of very clever, very well developed programme. You can just see how here getting users involved at a very early stage is going to embed the enjoyment and the opportunities of the sector with them at that very early stage. The studies prove that the earlier that students and children know about the sector, the more likely they are to consider that sector when they leave school. So, some really great examples there of what a programme can look like. So in 2020, we held a workshop up in Brickhouse. There was 29 companies attended this session, and we went through very much what we've sort of covered here, but in a little bit more detail. Separated the groups out into three age groups. We looked at the needs of the primary school, the needs of secondary school, and then the needs of post-education. So these may be graduates, or they may be older people who are not aware of the industry. There's different needs, different opportunities, and different ways to approach the three different age groups. So a great session on the day, huge amount of involvement, and really grateful for everybody who attended that event. And from that event, we developed then some work blocks. So I'll just summarise those here. Clearly, it needs a brand name that runs with it. We can either adopt some of the brand names that are common across Europe or the States, or come at our own brand. A lot of more research is required, and that's quite time-consuming. We identify the generations, but we need to understand how to approach those different age groups and the target audience and wider stakeholders. The work blocks identified that there are stakeholders, of course, with one thing about machinery suppliers and suppliers across what we call our associate members to the industry. It's critical for them to keep a continuing and well-developed industry. So, the likes of Heidelberg, I know, work closely over in the States. So there's existing stakeholders and understanding the needs, obviously, then from the school side of the audience and the stakeholders. So the students themselves, the careers advisors, mum and dad, of course, who influence at school age. So mapping all that out. And one of the idea was to develop, as I said, a plug-and-play toolkit with resources, with videos, with content, with literature that we can provide to members to allow them to go to market and support this. Unfortunately, then, as I want to remember, 2020 didn't progress the way we anticipated. So we quite rightly put this just on the back burner while BPIF focused on immediate member support. So yes, we paused the programme quite rightly, but now is the right time to reinvigorate it. We've managed to secure quite brilliantly some funding via Invest NI, and that will fund a facilitator to carry out a lot of this research work. So we're just working with them at the moment to get the final documents signed, but that will allow us to roll out a significant amount of this project, and have that done in a way that makes sure we meet the curriculum needs. And just one briefly, what's in it for me? Why would one get involved with these workshops? Well, having done a few myself, it's actually really enjoyable, you know, to work with young people nowadays. While somewhat daunting, of course, to stand in front of an assembly hall full of students, yeah, you get a good buzz for it, and you know, there's some really, really inspirational young people out there. And at this stage, hopefully, we've got Dave Stones. And Dave, are you able to give a bit of background on your experience?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Just jump straight in. I'll do my government briefing bit. Next slide, please. Yeah, so you know, I'll just jump straight in. I think from my perspective, it's my role just to take the sales side out, is to basically, you know, give this company the best promotion that we can, and to always be shown to be doing the right things, you know, from an ethical perspective, sustainability, and we like to give back from that CSR perspective. I think if we just looked at the overview of the sessions, you know, typically, you just said a second ago, I've probably delivered about 15 sessions, 15 to 20 sessions all around Yorkshire and beyond. Typically, they are assembly hall environments, anywhere between kind of, you know, 50 and 100 students plus. It can be a little bit daunting, and I think the key thing is you've got to make any presentations you deliver, they've got to be engaging, and they've got to be, you've got to have that participation. It's got to be a two-way street, because the one thing that they're not going to do is just sit and listen to you preach on about what could be considered a pretty boring subject to them. That's just never going to happen. So if you are fortunate enough to deliver some of these sessions, then you've got to make them engaging, and they've got to be interesting, and you've got to get down on their level and make them want to take part. So in terms of the sessions, they typically last probably about an hour each, and they are obviously within school time. In terms of the content that we've delivered, there's been typically 4 modules. So some of the work that we deliver has been around online presence. Don't forget, these are kind of, you know, 14 years old and above. So trying to give them hints and tips about online in terms of, you know, that social media footprint, and it's everlasting. So the right things to do, the wrong things not to do. CV writing, what makes a good CV, interview process, you know, guide them through the interview process. So these 4 modules were really geared around giving them the tools and the experience in order to go away and do their lessons in their class. So in terms of the findings, you know, one of the things where the presentation, it was all about, you know, print being the biggest sector that you've never thought of. And it was really interesting because you sit in front of 100 students, and, you know, I think Darren mentioned earlier, the perception is that it's got an aging workforce and it's really not that exciting. And I think that's down to us in the way that we have, I don't think we've done a particularly good job in getting out there how exciting print can be. You know, I know from our own work that we do with our own clients, you know, print is more exciting than ever, using video content, you know, inbound marketing technology and all these other hints and, you know, wonderful things. It really can be really interesting and inspiring. And what you've got to do in these sessions is get over the point that print is just not, you know, a commodity item. It's not just something that, you know, is very process driven. It can be really exciting, particularly with all, you know, video and online and all the other technology, web to print and things like that go with it. So we've got to do a better job in terms of getting people into the industry. And I think we can only do that if we can put that argument across that it's not just a dead, boring, you know, old tradition. You know, it's much, much more than that. But again, I think that's how we've not done a great job in terms of putting that across. So, you know, why did I decide to do it? You know, well, basically, I just love to kind of give something back, really. You know, I look at, and I'm 43 now, but I look back at when I was at school, and, you know, I think we all have a role to play in terms of giving something back. And, you know, obviously I'd be lying if I said that from a business perspective, why would we not want to get involved? It's great content for our website, it's great for our CSR policy. So from that perspective, it's, you know, it's really good as well. I think in terms of actually for the sessions, the way that you've got to make them engaging is, you know, start talking to them about what's in their world. So, you know, it might be talking about, I don't know, FIFA or Fortnite or whatever game it is that they're playing on at the moment. So you've really got to get those sessions structured and get some audience participation. In terms of how can the BPIF support and how do we make print more appealing? That's a real long conversation, but my advice would be, if you own a business, think a print business, get your staff out there talking to schools. Let's start to get new people into our sector, and let's kind of move it away from that, the biggest sector that you've never thought of, to one of the sectors that some of these guys, young students do actually think about. So, very rewarding sessions. I'd urge anybody to get involved and do it. But I think the way we communicate it, the toolkit that we use and the message that we put out needs to be a message that everybody can buy into, as opposed to different print companies doing different things. I think our time's probably up, Darren, so that's...
Yeah, that's perfect. I appreciate that one. So just very briefly, what can you do now? So call to action, yeah. So contact Mika Walwyn-Lewis, the email address is there, or any of your regional directors. So myself in the north, Dawn in the Midlands, and Marcus in the south. We'll build this network. There are ways to get involved, so we'll cover that with between the regional directors. If you're in touch, we've got some portals you can get involved with, and resources. So we're not without resources. There is some dedicated resources on the website. We have a booklet that sets out career opportunities we can share with you as well. It's not as if we can't carry out those activities at this stage. There's plenty we can be doing. There is a programme we can tap into. It's regional, so it's just northeastern Yorkshire, but we are buying into another programme there. But the other actions we can take. So thank you. I don't think we have a question opportunity, but Mika's details are there. Myself, Dawn, Marcus on the website. I'm sure Dave will throw his hat in the ring if you need any support. Really appreciate your time, guys. At this stage, if I can direct you, my closing role plan is to direct you to now the next session panel. And this is the Employer and Apprentice panel hosted by Print Week. Thanks to Dave for his time, really appreciated. I'll close the session down and I wish you well and hope you have a great rest of the day.
Yes, guys, thank you.
Very much. Bye. Cheers, Dave.